With Abdulfattah Adeyemi, you unlock a world of wisdom, growth, and connection. It's time to live, love, learn, and build a better world together. Be inspired. Be motivated. Edit your universe.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Abdulfattah Adeyemi, and today we want to look at a very crucial topic. The topic is the A to Z of marriage, what schools never taught us. What I notice is that, there are certain alphabets they never taught us in school, even though we had all gone through the school. They didn't teach us everything that we needed to know. If they did, then we will not be having problems of divorce or problems in marriages and what have you. We went to school, we went to further school, people got masters in this and that, people got PhD in many areas of life, but nobody got any PhD or master, not even the first degree in marriage. So many of us have been learning on the job. We got married and everybody expected us to figure things out. Professionals, engineers, they had to go to school to be trained and retrained and retrained because everybody is afraid that if these engineers are not well trained and they should construct a building or they build a bridge and there's problem, people are going to die. But nobody bothered to say, okay, when people are trying to build a marriage and they don't have any qualification or certification for it, is the marriage not going to collapse? Many people are medical doctors now. They have gone to school, they trained and retrained, they did housemanship, they did all sorts of things just for them to be qualified. And some of them have even become consultants in that field, medical field. Why did they have to go through all that training? So that they don't kill people if they are charlatans, if they are not qualified, so people's life will not be lost. We got people who have been trained in law. They are lawyers, they are learned people, they went to law school, they did so many other things, they've got years of experience in the practice of law. And they have their certificates so that So that they will be able to practice their profession very well without mixing things up. So how about marriage now? Who is training anybody and who has taught anybody about marriage? So what we want to do today is we want to go back to school now. Let us go back to school because you see, when we were children, life felt very simple. We sat in classrooms repeating after the teacher. A is for apple, B is for ball, C is for cat, D is for dog, and so on and so on and so on, including E is for elephant. They taught us all of those things, even though some people up till now, they have never seen a real elephant before, apart from the ones they see on the TV. You know what I mean? And then A for apple, how old were you before you even got to eat an apple? These were the things they were teaching us those days. And gradually, we learned how to read. Despite all of that, A for apple, B for ball, C for cat. We learned how to read, we learned how to write, we learned how to count, and how to pass examinations. The world prepared us for careers. The schools prepared us for certificates and for competition. But strangely, for one of the most important journeys of life, that's what I'm saying, one of the most important journeys of life, many of us were never properly taught, if taught at all. No one gathered us and said, A is not only for apple, A is for affection. Because love dies where warmth disappears. They didn't teach us B is for boundaries. They only said B is for ball. Because not everybody belongs inside your marriage. So if you have been taught that B is for boundaries, maybe by now you will have learned that you should create some boundaries around your marriage. We didn't know that C is not only for cat, but C is also for communication. because silence can break a relationship even faster than shouting. So we learned mathematics, but not how to multiply mercy in marriage. We learned language, but not how to speak gently to the one we love. We learned economics, but not how emotional bankruptcy destroys homes faster than financial poverty. And so many people enter marriage educated, but emotionally unprepared. They entered marriage intelligent, but relationally immature. Some know how to build businesses, they know how to write proposals, and they know how to lead meetings, but do not know how to apologize sincerely. They don't know how to listen patiently, and nobody trained them on how to protect the heart of a spouse. And that is why some homes become places where love slowly weakens, where communication breaks down, and two people begin living together while feeling emotionally alone. This is because marriage has its own alphabet. So forget about all of those ones, A for apple and stuff. Marriage has its own alphabet, marriage has its own language, marriage has its own curriculum. And unfortunately, many people are trying to pass a lifelong examination using lessons they were never taught. How can you pass the examinations of marriage when you were not even taught the ABC of marriage itself? However, the beautiful thing is this: marriage can still be learned. It's never too late. It might not be perfect, but it can be learned intentionally. Why? Because a successful marriage is rarely built on grand romantic gestures or endless compatibility. It is usually built on four things: small daily wisdoms, repeated acts of kindness, emotional discipline, and conscious love. So today, let us return to school. I'm not talking about the school of grades or the school of degrees that you have gone to. I'm referring to the school of relationships. Let us learn the alphabet of love, the language of peace, and the wisdom of building a home that survives storms. So for us to fully grasp today's lesson, you are in classroom now, everybody get your paper and pen, or what are you going to get? Pencil and whatever thing your writing materials are. Get all of those things and let us look at the A to Z of marriage. So for us to fully understand this lesson, I have clustered the alphabet into 4. We have 26 alphabets in all. So we divide them into 4. Number 1 will be letters A to F. That's the first lesson we are going to learn. Then we learn letters G to L and letters M to R, as well as letters S to Z. Get it? So we start with part 1, emotional foundation. That is letters A to F. We begin with the first 6 letters of the marital alphabet, the emotional foundations upon which peaceful homes can stand. So letter A stands for affection. Many spouses love each other deeply, very well, no doubt about that. But the other person no longer feels it. What's the use of somebody you love and they can't feel the love? Because affection was assumed instead of expressed. I love you now, I love you, I love you, I love you, but how are you expressing it? Affection is soft words. Affection is thoughtful gestures. Affection is warm attention and emotional presence. So sometimes a marriage is not dying from hatred. They love each other, but the marriage is dying from emotional dryness. Because love is not only something you feel internally, it is something your spouse should experience visibly. And let us be honest, some homes today have Wi-Fi connection, they have TV connection, they have TV subscriptions, they have social media connections, but they don't have emotional connection. Please, never become too mature. Don't become too grown up or too smart to say I love you once in a while, or to say I missed you once in a while, or to say are you okay, are you all right once in a while. You can't outgrow these things. So show your affection with the best language that you know. If it is to say it, say it. If it is to show it, show it. If it is to buy gift, if it is to be present, if it is to communicate, whatever thing you can do to express your love, go ahead and express it. Express your affection. So lesson number 1, A is for what? A is for affection. B is for boundaries. Not every opinion deserves access to your marriage. One of the silent destroyers of many homes is too many external voices. You know, the one that you call third parties. Some couples discuss every argument with friends, unfortunately. Some of them discuss every misunderstanding with family. Some discuss every weakness with outsiders. And gradually, the marriage loses its privacy, the marriage loses its dignity and protection. Boundaries are not secrecy, they are not arrogance, and they are not isolation. Boundaries are emotional gates that you put before your marriage. They are the emotional security system so that people will not burgle into your marriage or crash into your marriage. Because not everybody clapping for your wedding is mature enough to guide your marriage. Look, even Shaitan, la'natullah alayh, even Shaitan understands the power of intrusion. And that is why some conflicts become bigger, bigger than what we expected. They become bigger after just one phone call. They become bigger after just one family meeting. Or they become bigger after just one advice session. So Shaitan steps in because you did not protect your families and you did not create that boundary. So protect your marriage from unnecessary spectators. Your home is not a movie theater. Your home is not a cinema house. Your home is not a place for recording Netflix. So protect your home, protect the boundaries of your home. Don't let your home be topics of people's gossip and discussion. If you don't create this boundary, they are going to crash in. And when they crash in, they crack up your marriage. Then C is for communication. Communication is not merely talking. Let's talk and talk. It's not cho. Communication is listening, it is understanding, it is clarifying, and it is responding wisely. Some couples speak daily. Yeah, yes, every time. Yet they emotionally, they remain strangers to one another. Because words are being exchanged, but hearts are not connecting. One spouse is saying, listen to my pain. I feel hurt. I feel bad. I feel worried. But the other hears, you are attacking me. I feel disturbed. Then the other person thinks you are actually criticizing. That kind of a thing. And then conflicts begin. Look, good communication requires patience. It requires good timing and emotional intelligence. Not every issue should be discussed in anger or in public or at midnight when everybody is tired and already dramatic. And sometimes the problem is not what was said, but the problem could be how it was said. So take care of C for communication. If the communication should break down, then the marriage itself is cracking up. A gentle tone can carry a difficult truth safely. Then D is for dua. Yes, D for dua. There are moments in marriage when advice fails, no matter how smart you are, when conversations fail, no matter how much you try, and when emotions become exhausted. And at that point, the heart must turn upward towards Almighty Allah. Dua is not the last option actually, but it is one of the greatest marital tools. So pray for your spouse's peace, pray for your spouse's guidance, and pray for your spouse's healing, even during difficult moments. Because sometimes Allah softens hearts in sujood long before discussions improve in the living room. And honestly, some couples fight harder against each other than they pray for each other. You get it? they fight more than they pray more. They criticize each other more, they attack each other more than they actually pray for one another. So don't let it out. Don't let it be left out. Pray for each other. And that is D for dua. Never underestimate the power of a spouse whose name appears in your tahajjud. When you are making dua, add your husband or your wife's name inside. That is how to have a marriage that will work. Then number E, that is letter E, E for empathy. Empathy is one of the rarest gifts in marriage. Many people don't have it. It is the ability to pause your own emotions and step briefly into the emotional world of another person. Not every emotional reaction is manipulation. Not every emotional reaction is weakness or exaggeration. Sometimes it is accumulated exhaustion that is finally speaking. People are tired already. They are exhausted. They are stressed up. So when they talk, you got to understand where those words are coming from. And many marital injuries have salt added to them because one spouse is asking, why are you reacting like this? Instead of asking, what are you carrying inside? What are you trying to say? That is empathy there for you. Empathy does not always mean agreement, but it means recognition. Recognition of what? Recognition that the person before you feels something, and that feeling should not be rubbished, it should not be overlooked, it should not be underrated. That other person is struggling internally. Something is actually bothering their mind. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It is just that they are disturbed. And empathy is what will make you to recognize the needs that every other person needs to be understood. So, empathy, E for empathy, means you should at least come down and put yourself in the shoes of others so that you can feel what they feel and matters will not escalate. F is for forgiveness. Of course, you know that one very well. At some point in marriage, someone will disappoint you. There's no doubt about it. Somebody will misunderstand you. It is normal. Someone will forget something important, like those of you who do birthdays or you say, buy this for me, and they forget. Someone will speak poorly. They may not articulate themselves well, or someone may fail emotionally. Because you did not marry an angel, you married a human being. And you know, human beings are imperfect. That's why I normally say, real people are not perfect, and perfect people are not real. So forgiveness does not mean accepting abuse. It doesn't mean tolerating oppression, and it doesn't mean pretending pain never happened. No, it's not pretense. But it means refusing to let every mistake become permanent poison in your marriage. Some homes become emotionally heavy because, because old arguments never die, because old mistakes never leave, because old pain keeps getting resurrected during new conflict. They keep referring to what happened in the past. But Allah himself, subhanahu wa ta'ala, loves forgiveness. He loves forgiveness. That's why we normally say, Allahumma innaka afuwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are all forgiving. You love forgiveness. So forgive me. If we can say that to Allah, then let couples also know that when they forgive each other, they're actually looking for the love of Almighty Allah. And the people who remain married peacefully for decades are usually not the people with zero conflict. Yes, they are the people who mastered mercy after conflict. They are the people who practice forgiveness after having offended one another. That is why they say they stay long in marriage. If you are not ready to forgive, you are not going to last. You are not going to remain for a long time. A home where nobody forgives eventually becomes a courtroom where we sentence each other to a lot of loneliness and heartbreak. May Allah save us from that. Now, having looked at this emotional background, feelings can bring two people together, emotional feelings, but feelings alone cannot carry a marriage through stress. It cannot carry marriage through disappointment or through the bills that we have to pay or school fees that we have to pay. Feelings alone cannot cope with changing personalities as we are growing. and feelings alone cannot cope with the realities of life. Stable marriages are not built accidentally, they are built intentionally, patiently, and repeatedly. That means we keep marrying each other over and over again, choosing each other over and over again. So after the emotional foundation is laid, like we have done already, the next task is creating stability. And this is not temporary excitement, this is sustainable peace. And that's what we are going to do with this part of letters G to L. And letter G stands for growth. Yes, growth. One of the biggest mistakes couples make is assuming that love alone is enough. No, it's not enough. But marriage is not static. You have to know that. People change. Life evolves. Responsibilities increase. The person you married at 25 will not think exactly the same at 45 or at 65 for that matter. And that is not failure. That is life. That's how it works. People grow. People change. Healthy couples grow spiritually. They grow emotionally. They grow intellectually and financially together. Because if one person evolves, if one person grows while the other refuses growth, the emotional distance begins quietly and slowly, and then the gaps continue to get wider and wider. And let us be honest with ourselves. Some people update their phones more often than they update their character. So letter G stands for growth. Never stop becoming better for the person you promised forever. If you are going to remain married forever, please grow. Don't remain static like that. Marriage doesn't work that way. Grow spiritually, grow emotionally, grow intellectually, and grow financially together. Then letter H stands for honor. Stands for honor. You can love someone and still injure them deeply with disrespect. Honor in marriage means protecting dignity. It means speaking respectfully. You have to honor each other. It means correcting gently. It also means valuing your spouse publicly and privately. Allah says, وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي Adam. Indeed, the children of Adam are already created with honor. How much more husband and wife? You are supposed to honor each other. Never humiliate your spouse in public. Never humiliate your spouse before the family members and any other third party, and never humiliate your spouse during anger. Yes, because some words never fully leave the heart. You may say something and forget that you said it, but the person to whom it is said would never forget. We may say, okay, let's forgive each other, but memories cannot just be washed away like that, and it cannot be wished away like that. Beware of what you say. Let us honor one another. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Khiyarukum khiyarukum li ahli." The best of you are the best to their families. The best is not the richest. It is not the one with most university degrees, not the most domineering, and not the most controlling. Sometimes the best thing you can give your spouse is honor and dignity. Let us respect one another. Give each other the honor that we deserve. A respected spouse blossoms emotionally. Everybody loves to be respected. Let the wife respect the husband, and let the husband respect the wife. Let each of you respect each other. And husband, respect yourself. Wife also, respect yourself. All for the respect of Almighty Allah, who has commanded you to honor each other and to respect each other. Let's move on to the next letter now. Letter I stands for intimacy. Many people reduce intimacy to physical closeness alone, but I'm telling you now, true intimacy is beyond closeness. It is also emotional safety. Are we safe with each other, with our heart? It is also vulnerability. It's also a sort of comfort and some openness. You know, it is the ability to say, this is who I truly am, without fear of mockery or rejection. You can say, this is me, and I'm opening up and, exposing myself to you without having to edit myself. I am being intimate that way. Some couples share a bed yet they remain emotionally distant from each other. And some marriages become lonely because affection has disappeared, or because emotional closeness is now weak, or because vulnerability no longer feels safe. Is your spouse safe with you? Intimacy grows through trust. Can your spouse trust you? Intimacy grows through kindness, through consistency, through emotional presence. This is intimacy, not merely physical proximity of a lovey-dovey romance. It goes beyond that. And honestly, too, nothing kills intimacy faster than constant criticism. You say you love me, you say we are close, but you are criticizing me. You are criticizing my ability to be with you, to stay with you, to show love and affection to you, and the ability to be intimate with you. When there's constant criticism, it doesn't work. Nothing kills intimacy faster than emotional coldness, and nothing kills intimacy faster than unresolved resentment. All the intimacy you thought you were feeling will just die because you harbor too much resentment in your heart against each other. Look, the deepest intimacy begins where emotional safety exists. And then letter J, let's move on. J stands for joy. Aha. You see, marriage is serious, but it should not become permanently heavy. Some homes have food, they have furniture, and they have financial structure, but there's no joy. No joy, no laughter, no playfulness, and slowly the home begins to feel tense. The home begins to feel transactional and begins to feel emotionally tiring. Haba, let me tell you, joy is not childish. Everybody needs it. It is not a child thing. It is relational nourishment. So couples should learn to laugh together. You should create memories. Go out. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your marriage. Be playful sometimes. Don't be too serious with life. And please, not every conversation in marriage should sound like a board meeting. You know, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. When some couples are talking, you think they're actually holding a board meeting. Imagine couples say, okay, we want to hold a meeting, family meeting. No, you are sounding too serious that way. Let it be playful sometimes. Instead of calling it board meeting, why don't you just make it a joyful gist? Something that brings laughter. And within that laughter and joy, you bring out whatever thing you want to discuss. Some people have turned marriage, conversation in marriage, to a court case where everybody has to be explaining themselves. Everybody has to be defending themselves. Everybody has to be putting it to each other, gathering evidences. Haba, what are you talking about? No, it's not a court case, and conversation in marriage is not a disciplinary committee to say, okay, let us sit down and discipline ABCD. They sit down to discipline the husband, sit down to discipline the wife, sit down to discipline the children. No, a home should be a home of joy. So bear that in mind. J is for joy. Couples who laugh together, they reconnect faster after any hardship or conflict, even if there's conflict, because they had always laughed together. They just sometimes make a joke of many things that is bothering their mind. You know, rather than keep malice or what have you, the husband has his way of, tickling the wife with some sweet words and she will laugh. The wife has a way of pressing the button of the husband and the husband will start laughing. They have a way of reminding each other some things that was funny in order to douse the tension in marriage whenever there's a conflict or there's anything that is going on that's not, that's not so palatable. Even if there's hardship or they are going through some difficulties in life, because they are used to joy, it is very easy for them to move out of this calamity or this situation, and they move on to joy. That is happiness in marriage. So J is for joy. Don't forget. I don't know what they taught you in school. They said J is for jog, right? Forget about jog this time around. We are talking about joy here. May Allah make it easy for all of you couples out there. Then K is for kindness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and live with them in kindness. Allahu Akbar. Kindness is not weakness. It is emotional intelligence in action. When kindness is missing in a marriage, then they throw love away. There can be no love without kindness, because kindness appears in your tone. It appears in your patience. It appears in your small gestures. And it appears in your reactions during stress, even when you are tired. Kindness is always there. Your spouse will still be kind towards you even when you are tired and pissed off. And you too, your reactions is going to be that of, that of kindness, even when you are tired and stressed out. Some spouses speak politely to colleagues, to outsiders, to strangers, and to customers, and to clients. Then they return home and become emotionally rough. They become emotional hooligans to each other. Whereas the home deserves your best character too, because kindness is not only for public display. The people closest to you, they also need it most. So the tone of your voice can either water love or dry it up slowly. Letter L stands for loyalty. And loyalty is more than avoiding betrayal. It is emotional commitment. It is protective love. And it is consistent devotion. A loyal spouse protects your dignity. A loyal spouse, protects your secret. They also protect your vulnerabilities, even during conflict. Because real loyalty is tested during disappointment. Real loyalty is tested during temptation. Real loyalty is tested during emotional distance. And honestly speaking too, some people are physically present in marriage, but they are emotionally investing elsewhere. And where are they investing? They are investing online. They are investing in secret conversations or in attention from outsiders. And that is how emotional betrayal begins, silently and quietly. So loyalty means even when things are difficult, I will protect what we built together. A loyal heart creates emotional security that no money can even buy. Now, let us now look at how do we sustain the marriage now. To sustain marriage, we look at letters M to R. Many marriages begin with excitement. It begins with attraction, those kind of things when we just start marriage. It begins with dreams of the kind of marriages we want to have. And then it begins with emotional intensity. But after routines, after responsibilities, after bills we have to pay, children, upbringing, stress of life, disappointments in life, and changing seasons of life, another question now emerges. How do we keep this marriage alive? Because, marriage is not sustained by chemistry alone. It's not sustained by just attraction or memories alone. Marriage can only survive through intentional effort, through emotional maturity, and through spiritual grounding, as well as repeated act of kindness and repeated act of mercy. That is letter M now. M stands for mercy. Allah did not just describe marriage with love alone. Allah says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put between your heart, has placed between you affection and mercy. Because Allah knows that feelings can fluctuate. Some days, your spouse will be tired. Some days, they are emotionally unavailable. And some days, they can become very difficult. And sometimes, they become overwhelmed. And in those moments, marriage survives through mercy. Mercy says, I understand. Mercy says, don't worry, take your time. Mercy says, I will not weaponize your weakness. I know how you feel. Mercy says, okay, let me do it for you. Mercy says, just relax for now. Without mercy, every mistake becomes a battle. Without mercy, every mistake becomes an accusation. And without mercy, every mistake becomes emotional punishment. Without mercy, every mistake becomes an affront. Mercy is love, behaving gently during difficult seasons. Letter N stands for niyyah. That is intention. Niyyah, intention. Intentions shape endurance. A marriage built only on beauty or status or pressure or on loneliness may struggle when tested. When trials come, will the beauty still stay? If you married because of status, when problems come, will that still stay? Will the marriage still stay? But when marriage is entered with sincerity, good intention, responsibility, and consciousness of Allah, the couple keeps returning to the purpose. They be like, okay, why did we even marry each other in the first place? When they remember this letter N for niyyah, it reminds them that this marriage is not just about my happiness. It's also part of my worship of Allah. This marriage is not only about us, it's also about turning it to ibadah for Almighty Allah. And you see, some marriages are suffering because people prepared for the wedding, but they never prepared for the responsibility that comes with the marriage. So a sincere intention gives marriage spiritual roots. And that's why the Prophet said, Innamal amal biniyat. Actions are judged according to the niyyah. That's according to the intention. So, in fact, you have to renew your intentions over and over again as a couple so that you can get it right. Then that brings us to letter O, that stands for optimism. Every marriage experiences difficult conversations once in a while. Every marriage experiences misunderstandings and emotional lows sometimes. But pessimism turns temporary problems into permanent hopelessness. Some couples speak as if one disagreement means disaster. Can you imagine? Yes, some couples they speak as if one bad month means failure for life, or as if one hardship means the end to the marriage. No, one quarrel cannot lead to the end of the marriage. How many quarrels makes a marriage? How many quarrels make a marriage? How many fights make a marriage? Plenty. I'm telling you, plenty. So you can't, because of one hardship, one quarrel, one disagreement, one disappointment, you can't put an end to that marriage. You have to be optimistic. Don't say they can never change, or this is how they will always be. It doesn't work that way. A healthy marriage requires hopeful thinking. It does not require denial, of course, but it needs hope. The ability to say we can still improve. The ability to say things can still get better. The ability to say we can still heal even after this hurt. The ability to say this season will not last forever, even this one will pass. And truly, some marriages died emotionally long before divorce. But all that is because hope disappeared first. Never let frustration speak louder than your faith. Always have hope that things will always be better. Then that brings us to letter P, stands for patience. Patience in marriage is not passive suffering. It is emotional restraint. It is maturity. Yes, you are patient, but you are mature. Patience is about timing, understanding that, okay, this is this time, then another time will come. Ability to wait through the time, ability to wait through the season. And patience means, Allahu Akbar, wisdom under pressure. Some issues improve with discussion. We just need to talk about it. Others improve with calmness, with time, and with reduced emotional intensity. And really, some couples are not arguing because the issue is huge. They are arguing because everybody is reacting at the same time. So patience teaches you when to speak, when to pause, when to let emotions settle, because not every irritation deserves a speech. Sometimes you just have to keep quiet. Not every irritation deserves a threat, and not every irritation or offense is an emergency that requires an emergency family meeting. Sometimes just calm down, chill. In fact, chillax. That chill and relax at the same time. It's not everything that goes the way you are thinking or the way you are taking it. Be patient sometimes. Some things, they will just pass on their own naturally. So emotional maturity is sometimes the ability to delay reaction and let things just sort themselves out. Then letter Q stands for qana'a. That's contentment. Qana'a is an Arabic word that means contentment. One of the greatest enemies of marital peace today is constant comparison. Many people are guilty of this. You know, in marriage, people don't know that they are doing this, but it's actually happening. And it has led to the breakdown of many marriages. In fact, break apart of many marriages. People compare spouses. Can't you be like that other person? Can't you be like that other husband? After all, many other wives are doing this. After all, many other husbands are tolerating this. We begin to compare spouses. We begin to compare lifestyles. Not that we have any problem, but we are thinking of somebody else's lifestyle that we want to copy. You get what I mean now? We begin to compare finances. You that knows how much you have, how much you own, how much you worth, you are comparing your own marriage to the marriage of some other persons vis-a-vis the way they spend money in that marriage. And some people begin to compare romance. Can't you see how they are kissing each other in public? You cannot even hold me in public. When you start doing that one, you are killing your marriage. Some people even compare vacations. And they went on Umrah the other time. Why haven't we gone on Umrah? They went to Dubai. They went to France. They went to... Oh my God. By the time you continue to compare, you are killing your marriage. Some people compare social media displays. You know, those kind of perfect pictures of people, portraits of couples, and some of the things that they do. And you think that's how it always is. No, stop comparing. You don't know what those other people are actually going through in their marriages. Look, I'm not saying you cannot learn from others, but there's a space for learning. That one is positive, but comparing is negative. And when you make this comparison, suddenly a peaceful marriage begins to feel insufficient. A wife that is trying her best start looking inadequate. A husband that is doing his best start looking as if he's even impotent. But what people post online that you don't know is often edited happiness. This is not how they always are. It is selective moments that they portray to you as if that's how they are perpetually. And it is a curated perfection. Don't fall for it. Not reality. Qana'a teaches you that you should appreciate what Allah has given to you. Not every marriage will look the same at the same time. You too will get there if that's where you are looking for, if that's where you are going. But don't compare your husband to somebody else, and don't compare your wife to somebody else's wife. And honestly too, some couples stop enjoying each other because they are too busy watching other people. They are not watching themselves, they are watching other people. So qana'a, contentment, protects love from unnecessary greed that will never be fully satisfied. Wants can never be met with. We will always want more and more and more, and more can never be enough. Then this brings us to letter R. Letter R stands for respect. Yes, respect is one of the deepest emotional needs in marriage. Everybody needs it. Because respect appears in how you speak, how you disagree, how you correct each other's mistakes, and how you discuss your spouse before others. Once respect weakens, even love begins to struggle. Never become so comfortable in marriage that you become careless with dignity and respect. Because familiarity should increase tenderness, not disrespect. Now you feel you have gone to school so much, you got all the degrees, that doesn't mean you shouldn't know how to show respect anymore. And sometimes a spouse can survive hardship, but they cannot survive constant dishonor. People can tolerate a lot of things, but when disrespect starts coming in, that marriage may not last. A marriage can recover from many problems, but repeated disrespect compounds the damages for the couples. So, now that we have seen that aspect, let us look at other letters too. Because after all these letters we have looked at, we have learned that a successful marriage is rarely built on one big moment or one perfect compatibility or, endless romance. No, it is built slowly through mercy, patience, forgiveness, communication, kindness, and intentional effort that is repeated over time, over and over. Because long-term success in marriage is usually the result of small, beautiful things done consistently. Now, let us move to this long-term success now. And that long-term success is S to Z. Letter S stands for sacrifice. 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 If you are not ready to sacrifice something, you cannot reap the fruit of marriage. Marriage cannot survive if everybody wants comfort, if everybody wants control, and if everybody wants to win at all times. Sometimes you have to sacrifice your ego. Sometimes love means adjusting. It means compromising. Please, learn to sacrifice and compromise. Love means giving up preferences. Sometimes love means carrying responsibilities quietly. Everybody should be ready to sacrifice something. Look, we know that the role of the husband is to provide. But when the fulus is not there, when the money is not there, when there's financial crisis, the wife should learn to sacrifice a little so that that marriage can survive that period of time. Let the husband also learn to sacrifice. Life is not all about you. You also have to spend for your family. It's not all about your car that you want to change. It's not about your new phone that you want to change. Sacrifice some of your own comfort too for the good of your wife. So, some people want the benefits of marriage without the sacrifices required to sustain it. It cannot work. It cannot work because sacrifice is not loss. It is investment. So you sacrifice ego for peace. Sacrifice your convenience for stability and sacrifice your pride for connection. Look, slaughter your ego once in a while and let your spouse win this argument. Sacrifice the fact that you are right sometimes and let your spouse be the one that is right. In fact, sacrifice your pride sometimes and apologize even when you are convinced that you are not wrong. That is how to let a marriage stay. S is for sacrifice and T is for trust. Trust is not built merely by promises. Trust is built by consistency, by honesty, not just to be honest once in a while. You have to be consistently honest. It's also built by reliability. Can we rely on you? Are you reliable? And it's also built on transparency. If you say good morning now, do we need to check to be sure it is good morning, that it is morning? You know what I mean now? You are not transparent. You lie a lot. And that is why nobody trusts you. Even you don't even trust yourself. Astaghfirullah. So once trust breaks, even innocent actions begin to look suspicious. That is why secrecy, deception, emotional dishonesty, and repeated lies can destroy emotional safety. Okay, you say somebody should trust you. What are you doing with that kind of icon, that emotion icon that you are sending to the opposite sex? You are sending heart to somebody and you say you are just saying Jumad Mubarak. What type of Jumad Mubarak is that shows an icon that is kissing somebody? And you say they don't trust you. Nobody will trust you when you are walking on the edges of lie. So be careful. Stop being careless. Because now you have put so much passwords to your phone. There's password, there's thumbprint, finger, fingerprint. There's also face identification. There's also voice identification. Excuse me, what is going on here? And what kind of a man puts password in his phone? And like I normally ask, what kind of a woman checks the husband's phone? It means there's no trust in that marriage again. Stop working on the edges of what will make people to distrust you. That's what I'm trying to say. Many marriages are broken now because one dishonesty that has spoiled that trust has never been regained, even 20 years after. Look, don't let people have any cause to distrust you, especially your spouse. Because like I'm telling you, it's an amana. Once this amana is broken, it's going to take years to be able to fix it back. And looking at it critically, repairing broken trust often takes longer time. It takes more sincere effort and more emotional energy than even protecting it from the beginning. You understand it now? Once you start telling one lie, you will need 10 other lies to cover it up. Then when are you going to stop? So in all honesty, we should try to be honest and not to break this trust. Because honesty may create temporary discomfort, but dishonesty creates lasting damage in a marriage. Most of the marriages that are divorced now, they are based on this lack of trust or the break of trust. Then let's move to the next one. Letter U stands for what? Not umbrella, the way you were taught in school. Letter U stands for understanding. One of the deepest human needs is to feel emotionally understood and not to feel dismissed or to feel mocked or to feel ignored. Don't dismiss somebody and don't allow yourself to be dismissed. Some spouses listen only to respond. Some of them, they listen only to defend themselves, or they listen only to, prepare counter arguments. But understanding requires something you need to learn and to practice very well. Understanding requires slowing down. It requires emotional presence. It requires sincere and active listening. And many conflicts reduce in intensity the moment someone says, I understand why you feel this way. Just that statement alone will reduce the intensity and the tension in that marriage. I understand why you feel this way. I understand where you are coming from. I understand why you said what you said. Or please explain further to me. I want to understand what you mean by so and so. When somebody is asking you that kind of question, even if you were angry before, you will calm down and say, okay, let me explain it to you. And then when they're explaining to you, you listen actively and sincerely. Because understanding creates emotional safety, it creates calmness, and it creates connection. People soften emotionally when they feel understood. No matter how angry somebody is, when they know that you understand them, even that anger will reduce. And your understanding will make you to know when to apologize. Your understanding will make you to know that you should keep quiet when the other person is complaining. Your understanding will make you to show respect even when that person is angry. Your understanding will make you to forgive even if the other person is pissed off. Even when you are the one that is pissed off and angered, understanding will make you to forgive the other person. And then letter V stands for vulnerability. What did they tell you it is in school? Letter V stands for volcano or violet. In marriage, letter V stands for vulnerability. Vulnerability is frightening, but it means opening your heart. It means exposing your fears. It means admitting your weakness. There's nobody that doesn't have their weak points. It means revealing your insecurities. It means revisiting your trauma and finding ways to deal with it. It means understanding your moods and emotions and not dragging the other person to fall into the deep pit of your mood swing. It means allowing the other person to see that you are not perfect. But without vulnerability, marriage becomes performative. You start pretending. It becomes emotionally shallow and it becomes guarded. You'll be keeping some secrets. You'll be hiding some things. You'll be pretending some things. In fact, let's say you'll be acting Netflix. You will not be true to yourself. You will not be straightforward. And you'll be there pretending. But let me tell you, strong couples can say, I am hurting. They can say, I am struggling. In fact, a strong man will say, I am broke. I am broke. You don't have to lie. You don't have to hide your account. If you are broke, bro, admit that you are broke. There's no problem with that. Show your vulnerability if you are vulnerable. If you feel hurt, If you feel worried, if you need reassurance, say it without fear of humiliation. Be ready to be vulnerable. Madam, if you are missing your husband, tell him, darling, I'm missing you. Not where are you coming from? Not when are you coming home? Not nobody sees you nowadays. You know what I mean now? You know what I mean? You know what these ladies do now, So sometimes some spouses look emotionally strong on the outside only because they no longer feel safe enough to be open. Please, couples learn to be vulnerable before each other, and that is where honesty and transparency begins. If you are hiding your vulnerability, how will I be able to help you? How will I be able to support you? How will I be able to assist you in your vulnerable moments, in your weak moments? Then let's move to letter W. W, yes, W. That's the only letter that you cannot sound the word of W based on the way it is pronounced. Letter A sound A, letter B sound B, letter V sound V, but letter W doesn't sound D. You need to learn that very well. Letter W stands something else. It sounds woo. And for that woo that it sounds like wisdom in marriage. Wisdom. I don't know what they called it for you when you were in your kindergarten, but here in marriage, letter W stands for wisdom. Wisdom in marriage is timing. It is balance. It is ability to discern. Allahu Akbar. Ability to use your initiative. Ability to have emotional intelligence and to be able to practice it. Because wisdom knows when to speak and when to keep quiet. Wisdom knows when to pause and when to proceed. Wisdom knows when to joke and when to be serious. Wisdom knows when to comfort and when to correct. And wisdom knows when silence is better than argument. Some marriages suffer not from lack of love, but from lack of wise responses. Marriages suffer not because they didn't go to school. They have so many degrees and they are very smart, but they are not wise. Because not every disagreement should become a war. You don't have to underline every statement. Not every disagreement should become a public discussion. And not every disagreement should become a dramatic conclusion. Some arguments will disappear faster if both people they sleep on it first. I don't believe in, okay, let's not go to bed angry. Let us talk about it this night. No, sometimes just sleep over it. Let the matters be. Just chill, both of you. Use wisdom. Allow each other to be. Allow each other to rest. When there's tension, when there's anger, some things are better left undiscussed. Some matters are better left unraised. And some issues are better left alone for everyone to go and sleep over it. Use your wisdom. Wisdom is knowing the difference between a serious problem and a temporary emotional moment. And like they say, knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit. But wisdom is knowing that you don't include tomato in fruit salad. I don't want to say that again. Let's move for letter X. X sounds for excellence in ihsan. I don't know what they called it for you when you were in school. They call it the name of something that you have never seen before, right? Xylophone. What is xylophone? Well, in this case of marital class that we are in, letter X stands for excellence, and we call it ihsan. Ihsan means excellence. It means doing more than the minimum. Allahu Akbar. It means adding a little extra. It means doing things in an excellent and beautiful way. Excellence, ihsan, means showing beauty in behavior. It means maintaining effort even after years together. Allahu Akbar. Excellence means finesse, adding some decorum. It means, having some candor, having some panache and pizzazz. In addition to your normal routine, you add extra effort in order to make your marriage to be more beautiful. Some people work harder to impress strangers. They dress well and they work hard to impress their bosses and colleagues. And they work harder to impress their customers than even the spouse that is waiting at home. But excellence means continuing kindness, even when it is not absolutely necessary. Excellence means continuing effort, continuing emotional care, even after familiarity has settled in. Because marriage should not deteriorate into emotional laziness. It should not be allowed to deteriorate into careless behavior or into, you already know I love you now, or into, what is wrong with the way I'm dressed, or into, where I already had my bath yesterday, I don't need to bath again today. So if you think I'm stinking, you should deal with it. No! Excellence means you go out of your way to beautify yourself for each other, to smell nice for one another. Look, Mr. Man, you can still use perfume even when you are inside the house. And madam, that cloth you normally wear to the kitchen is not the appropriate one you should be wearing in the bedroom. Think about it now. Think about it now. You'll be wearing some rag that looks like uniform that is used by people in correctional center, and you say it doesn't matter. And after all, I'm in the house. Both husband and wife, you better change now. Look for excellence in everything that you do, because love grows where effort continues. And that brings us to letter Y. Y, I don't know what they told you it stands for. Maybe it stands for yacht, the one you see on TV. But yacht is one thing you learn in school. But letter Y, when it comes to Islamic marriage, it stands for yaqeen. Yaqeen means certainty in Allah. You cannot leave Allah out of your marriage. If not, it will collapse. There will be moments in marriage when emotions become exhausted, when solutions seem unclear. You don't even know what to do. When patience feels difficult, beyond what you can handle. Look, in those moments, yaqeen comes in. Yaqeen is the certainty that Allah sees your effort even when nobody thanks you. Yaqeen is the certainty that Allah can soften hearts no matter how angry you and your spouse are. And certainty, yaqeen, is that Allah can heal what seems to be broken. Allah can do everything. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. You have that certainty that no matter what, your goodness will be rewarded one day. No matter what, your softness, your patience will pay you off one day. You know that no matter what, your sacrifice will be rewarded by Allah. Allah says, Inna sa'yakum la shatta. Your words, your efforts are different from one another. And another place, Allah says, Wa kana sa'yukum mashkura. I'm going to appreciate every effort you have made. That is certainty that can make you to do that. You do it behind your spouse, even when they don't know that you are actually rooting for them or working for them. They are not there to clap or to applaud you or to hug you or to kiss you. But you still do it behind their back because you have that yaqeen that Allah will bless you in abundance for every effort that you put into that marriage. Couples who keep Allah at the center, they recover differently, they struggle differently, and they endure differently because they know that marriage is not sustained by human effort alone. Allah's help matters too, and they rely on Allah. They have that certainty that Allah's help is always needed in that marriage. Some homes survive storms, not because they are strong, but because Allah remains present within them. That is one of the secrets of many couples you see survive up to today. They have that certainty that Allah will always be there for them, and that Allah will always take care of their needs, and that Allah will always pacify them. Allah will always, give them peace of mind. They know that Allah will always be there for them, even in difficult times. They know that if I forgive you, Allah will forgive me also. They know that if I show mercy on you, Allah will be merciful to me also. They know that if I spend on you, Allah will spend on me too. And they know that if I do goodness to you, the same goodness will come back to me. They have that yaqeen. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is very important in every marriage. And finally, letter Z, or Z as you may call it. What did they say letter Z is for you in your kindergarten? Z for zebra, right? Okay, Z for zebra. Now, when we talk about marriage, letter Z is for zeal. That is your zeal, Z-E-A-L, your zeal. One danger in long marriages is emotional neglect through familiarity. The zeal is no longer there. People stop complimenting each other. Oh, you look cute today. Oh, you look beautiful today. You look handsome in that cap. People stop appreciating each other. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate what you did. People stop planning together. People stop trying. People stop cutting each other. And slowly, love becomes routine. Love becomes predictable. And love becomes emotionally tiring. And lovers become emotionally tired of each other. But when we talk about zeal, zeal means maintaining energy. It means protecting the excitement, to keep the flame of love burning. It means continuing intentional love for one another. I'm not talking about childish obsession. I'm talking about conscious effort to keep the love alive. You should still laugh together. No matter how old you are in that marriage, you should still surprise each other. You still make memories, create memories of goodness for one another. Because the marriage that survives longest emotionally is often the one where affection never fully retired. There is no retirement age in marriage. You should continue to love each other and continue to show it, continue to reflect it in everything that you do. Never become too familiar to remain intentional with one another. Now, from affection to zeal, from letters A to Z, from communication to yaqeen, from mercy to understanding, you begin to realize something very important. And what is that? You now realize that marriage success is really one dramatic secret. If you are looking for the secret to a successful marriage, it's not just one thing. It is small, beautiful habits. It is repeated consistently. It is done with sincerity. Success in marriage is something that can only come with wisdom, with patience, and with Allah at the center. So the summary of what I'm teaching now is that many people know the alphabet, but the happiest homes are built by those who learn the language of marriage well. So it is one thing to know the alphabet. It's another thing to know the language of marriage. But it's not so difficult because you see, when we were children, the alphabet looked simple, just A, B, C, until words were formed. The same ABC until sentences emerged. C-A-T, cat, until stories were written once upon a time, and until entire libraries were built, is all within this ABCD up until Z. And yet, no matter how large the book becomes, even if you have written books with it, no matter how deep the vocabulary sounds, everything is still constructed from the same 26 letters. Get it? Marriage is similar to that. Many people search for one secret formula. Some people ask or they search for one magical solution or one perfect compatibility. But most successful marriages are not built on extraordinary secrets. They are built on what we said earlier on. They are built on affection, on kindness, patience, mercy, understanding, T for trust, F for forgiveness, C for communication. The same simple letters repeated consistently over time. And the truth is, every home is writing a story. Some homes are writing bitterness. Their own letter B is for bitterness. They are writing their own letter N to become neglect. And their own letter E is emotional distance. While others are writing letter P for peace, letter L for laughter, letter H for healing, letter C for companionship, and letter S for sakina. You see the difference now? The difference is often not in money or status or perception or perfection. It is how the letters are combined. How uniquely are you combining your own letters to form words of goodness, to form words of happiness? Is your letter H equal to happiness or horror? Is it letter H for honor or letter H for horror? Allahu Akbar Kabira. Because kindness without respect weakens. Love without communication will be struggling. If you don't combine them together, there will still be problem. That's why Allah combines mawaddatan wa rahmah, love and mercy. Apart from what they stand for, begin to combine them in ways that will favor your marriage. And that's why we say kindness will go with respect, love will go with communication, patience will go with mercy, and it will go with kindness. But when affection meets understanding, Allahu Akbar, you are going to find something very nice. When trust meets honesty, when letter S, sacrifice, meets letter L, loyalty, and when all of it is tied together with God consciousness, a beautiful story begins to emerge. A beautiful story begins to form. And perhaps that is one of the greatest lessons of marriage, which means happy homes are not usually built in one dramatic moment. They are written slowly, letter by letter, conversation by conversation, prayer by prayer, act of kindness by act of kindness. And yes, of course, even when you are writing the story of your marriage with these alphabets, with these letters, there will be spelling mistakes. We know. There will be crossed out pages where you want to, in fact, tear that page off from your storybook. And there will be very difficult chapters that even you don't even understand. And there will be moments where the story feels uncertain. You don't even know what is going to happen next in your own story that you are writing with your hands, with the alphabets, together with your spouse. But let me tell you, as long as humility remains, and as long as effort continues, and as long as Allah remains at the center, and as long as the dictionary for the words you are using in your marriage, you look for it in the Quran and Hadith, in the Kitab and Sunnah, so long as the words that you are using for your marriage are found in the books of Allah, the story can still become beautiful. Look for the right words in the Hadith, in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If you make good combination of these words, your marriage, the story of your marriage will be beautiful. So before we leave the class today, let us remember that many people know the alphabet, but the happiest homes are built by those who learn the language of marriage very well. And however long the story of your marriage becomes, it doesn't matter for how many years you have been married, it will still be written using the same letters. And these are the letters of affection. A for affection, B for boundaries, C for communication. It can also be for connection. D for dua, E for empathy, and F for forgiveness. M will still be for mercy, and P will still be for patience. T will still be for trust. U will still be for understanding, and so on and so forth. So write carefully. Couples, write consciously and write mercifully. Now that you have known the letters, you've learned your alphabets over and over again, I want you to be very conscious and to be very intentional with what you write with your marriage. Because one day, your children will read the emotional language of marriage from the home you have built. The words you are putting together, the vocabularies you are using with these letters you have learned, your children will begin to read them one day, and they will use it as their own dictionary for how to understand what a happy marriage is supposed to be. May Allah help us all to write marriages whose final chapters are filled with peace, with mercy, with forgiveness, with laughter, and with companionship. My name is Abdulfattah Adeyemi. I hope you have learned something very good from today's lesson. And what is that? That marriage is as simple as ABC. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Welcome to a place where we celebrate your greatness and nurture your path to even greater accomplishments. Acquire Abdulfattah Adeyemi's soul-lifting handmade masterpieces and experience the divine beauty of Islamic artistry. Join the community. Transform your life. Edit your universe.